For us, it's a daily thing.
It's every day, right?
This is Mammoth Daily
We're going to take you inside the locker room
with Mike Fulta.
We want this show to be about the fans, and we want this show to be driven by our Utah Mammoth community.
And Adrian Denny.
Fans can submit what they want to hear us talk about, what they want to hear Utah weigh in on. It's all going to be here.
Here's Mike and AD with you.
Utahns, countrymen, lend me your ears.
Right here on Mammoth Daily.
Welcome into our Friday Free-for-All edition of Mammoth Daily. We are your Hockey Night in Utah radio crew, Mike Fulta and Adrian Denny alongside you. Please remember to subscribe to the team YouTube page if you're not already. Give us a thumbs up and don't be afraid to leave a comment. Adrian, before we start, a little shout out to some of our fans who have been chiming in on YouTube. Our good friend David Yeager, Moisette, Label Me Infinity. Always good to hear from Label Me Infinity. Brett, Jordan Hinckley, who I believe is a sword fighting class instructor, and then Jamie as well. So guys, thank you for your patronage here on our show. But AD, a chance to salvage the homestand here against a Seattle team that had been scuffling as of late. They had lost 5 in a row until a 3-2 overtime win against the LA Kings on Wednesday. This team surprised a lot of people out of the gates in Seattle, played pretty well, and since have fallen back a little bit in the Pacific Division, but are still a couple games above 500.
Do not check the hood, Mike. Do not look under the hood with the Seattle Kraken. You just mentioned their winless skid. They were 0-5-1 until Wednesday. They came from behind, beat LA 3-2 in overtime. All 5 goals in that game were scored on the power play. LA took a penalty with 39 seconds left. Seattle tied it with 26 seconds left with Matty Beniers getting a goal. And then Seattle scored a power play goal in overtime because LA took another penalty. So that's how the game went on Wednesday night, but the Kraken snapped their 6-game winless skid. Mike, they're an interesting case here. They score the second fewest goals in the NHL. They've led the fewest of anybody in the NHL next to Nashville. They don't have any players on pace to reach 55 points offensively, but they've gotten good goaltending. They've protected that slot area. They've kept teams to the outside, and they found a way to win low scoring, low event games. I'm not really sure what happened last year for them, Mike. The 1 year Dan Bylsma tenure. I haven't figured out what happened. It lasted a year. You didn't really hear anything other than they didn't think they were good defensively. They bring in Lane Lambert, who had coached with the Islanders, was an assistant coach in Toronto last year, and he's brought in the shutdown D to the Puget Sound, and they've gotten off to a good start. Again, underlying numbers under the hood. Don't look under the hood, Mike. Don't look under the hood.
You see that check engine light, you just keep going with the Seattle Kraken.
If you try and pop the hood, Mike, it might fall on you.
Yeah, I mean, this team has kind of, throughout different coaches now, kind of been more or less the same, really, since they entered the NHL. They made the playoffs in their second year and surprised some people. They won a playoff round, and honestly, Adrian, that was maybe the worst thing for them because everybody in Seattle was thinking, okay, we're a playoff team. Here we go. And they didn't make the appropriate moves that a team that's truly still building towards becoming a perennial playoff team, what a team that's going through that phase should make. And so they've been stuck in the mushy middle after that overachieving season when they won a first round playoff game. Was that Vegas? Who did they beat that first year? Or the first year?
They lost to Colorado in the second round. Was it Vegas? I think you might be right in 2022.
I think they might have.
2023.
Would have been 2022 because that's when the Avs won it. But that was part of it too. They're saying, hey, we took the Stanley Cup champions to like 6 or 7 games, and we were, I think it was 7 games, and we came up just a little bit short in that second round. We're good. Like, we just need to keep pushing forward. everybody thinks you're going to take the next step in the progression, but that's not how it works because everybody's trying to get better each year pretty much in the NHL. And they kind of they took a step back last year. We're not very good. This year, a lot of the same problems persist where they've got some good veterans, but they don't have any of that game-breaking talent. They don't have a Logan Cooley. They don't have a Dylan Guenther. They don't have some of these elite players that you might see in the Pacific Division. They've got a bunch of good, but that has not amassed or formulated into a big goal-scoring effort. Were you able to look it up, AD?
Yeah, I have it, Mike. 2023, they beat the Avs in 7 games and then went on to the Dallas Stars and lost that series in 7 games in the second round.
So they beat the defending Cup champs in the first round and then were a game away, so they thought, from advancing to the conference finals against Dallas. Great podcasting by us. Way to
as always.
But truly, like, that lack of star power has been missing from Seattle. You look at the offensive talent they have. Matty Beniers, Shane Wright, like 2 good young players, but not quite Logan Cooley, Dylan Guenther, at least production-wise, numbers-wise, that we've seen so far. Jordan Eberle, really good player, but is he the true number 1 on a playoff team? As we've seen so far, probably not. Jaden Schwartz, another good veteran, is he a number 2 or 3 on a playoff team in 2026? Probably not. Brandon Montour is a really good defenseman. I love his game. He plays with snarl. He's got a big offensive side of his game. He's a goal-scoring defenseman. But is he your true number 1 on a playoff team? Not that we've seen so far. So a lot of good for Seattle, but basically no great. And that's kind of left them in the mushy middle.
Yeah, Matty Beniers, the 2nd overall pick in 2021. He's got 17 points in 28 games, their 3rd leading scorer. You look at their offensive numbers this year, Mike, it seems like everybody is down. Like, Beniers last year was a 20-goal scorer. This year he has 4. Shane Wright, the 4th overall pick in 2022, right behind Logan Cooley. Remember, Shane Wright was thought to be the first overall pick for the entire season. And then on draft night, Devils didn't take him. Rangers didn't take him. Bill Armstrong didn't take him. And Seattle did. Shane Wright, 12 points in 28 games after he scored 19 last year. So not a lot of offense from the Seattle Kraken. And I will tell you this, Mike, I probably watch more Seattle Kraken games than anybody in the NHL because their games are on late at night, right? They play 8:00 home games and a lot of games up and down the West Coast. So it's at a good time to turn on the TV and kick back and watch some hockey. But I think they've got an incredible TV broadcast with John Forsland, Eddie Olczyk, JT Brown, Ian Furness, former Grizzlies play-by-play announcer, doing TV studio, Allison Lucan. I like them all. I turn on a Kraken game to watch the announcers. I don't do that for really anybody, but I like Seattle. I watch their games on TV because of the announcers. So I watch a lot of Kraken hockey.
I mean, Forsland and Edzo, like, that's a national TV duo right there. Yeah. I mean, and so Seattle very, very spoiled in that regard, as their fans know. And we saw how highly they ranked in the athletic survey that comes out at the end of every year, ranking the regional broadcast for each team. But low-scoring team in Seattle can play kind of a boring style a little bit. Although they gave Utah all kinds of trouble last year. I thought 2 of Utah's worst games last season came against Seattle. The Mammoth lost 5-2 back in late December, right before the new year, in Seattle. Just a messy game. And then Utah lost again 4-2 in Seattle in March. They beat the Kraken 7-1 in April, but that was the game where both teams were out of the playoffs at that point. And you're just playing for pride. So in games where it mattered, Utah did not fare well for whatever reason against the Kraken. Those were turnover-filled games where guys like Jaden Schwartz and Jordan Eberle broke loose a little bit and made Utah pay. But it's a lot of the same crew from last year for Seattle, Adrian, and that crew didn't make the playoffs, and even though they got out to a good start, it's going to be an uphill climb for Seattle to reach the postseason again this year.
Joey Decord's been really, really good in between the pipes. The pioneer of Arizona State University hockey.
Got his jersey retired.
Yeah, and his dad worked with Bill Armstrong early on here as part of the build is the goaltender development coach and working with Corey Schwab on the goalies. So another familiar thing to me there. I've always followed Joey Decord because Brian was such a nice guy and we had him during an awkward bubble season in Arizona. So he's one of 20 people that I saw every single day. But those games last year against Seattle, Mike, they were games you just didn't feel like you could trust. Like Utah had leads in both of them. Both games were tied in the third period and they were ugly and they just kind of went sideways as the game was going on. You're tied, you're ahead, but you just never really trusted the game. And the December game coming out of Christmas, Utah kind of went into a little bit of a struggle there right after Christmas. And then that game in March, Mike, if they would have won that game on March 15th in Seattle, they would have been in a wild card spot in the Western Conference. And they led in the game. They were tied in the third period. They didn't win the game. And it was the last chance all year that Utah had with 2 points to get into a wild card spot. So a couple really tough losses up there to a Seattle team I think you expect better against. And Utah, I think, showed that the way they beat them 7-1 at the Delta Center on April 8th. Like, all right, let's go do this here.
So the Kraken have 12 wins this year, Adrian. They've only scored 4 goals or more in 4 of those 12 wins. So most of their wins are relatively tight, low-scoring games. The Mammoth, just for reference, have 14 wins this year, and they've reached 4 goals or more in 8 of their 14, so well over half of those wins. Utah is racking up the goals. So kind of contrasting styles a little bit here. Utah wants to win a more up-tempo game, get goals off the rush like we've seen the last couple of weeks. Seattle wants to slow it up, slog it up, which I think this is going to be a good matchup for Utah coming off of 2 games against 2 elite defensive teams in LA and then the defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. Those are 2 teams that are elite at defending the middle, that are elite at slowing you up through the neutral zone and forcing you to dump it in. Seattle's going to try and do that to some extent. They're just not as good as those other 2 teams at restricting access to those scoring areas. So excited for this matchup for Utah to get right and pick up 2 points on the homestand here to salvage this 3-game stretch at the Delta Center. We've seen some great games and some great performances from Utah, just coming up a little bit short and not able to put all the pieces together. I say great. I hesitate to use the word great in losses, but I think efforts, at least, that you can be pleased with. Now it's just a matter of, okay, we have to go out and execute and piece this all together because this is a Seattle team that talent-wise Utah should beat.
Before last night, or before Wednesday night against LA in that 3-2 overtime win, they'd allowed 4 goals or more in 4 straight non-wins, including a couple of losses to Edmonton where they lost 9-4 and then were shut out by a count of 4-0. But I think that's kind of been the message this week, Mike. And I think the fans have realized that Utah's played pretty decent. They just haven't won. And in the NHL, it's either get an A or an F. You either win or you lose. But I think we've all recognized, okay, this team is playing a brand of hockey that can be successful if you eliminate a couple lapses in games. And I think when you lose, you look at the process. How we lose? I think, might have played as good as you wanted and just didn't win those 2 games. So big one here with Seattle. The Mammoth are going to want to get 2 points here, Mike, as you guys head back out on the road. Did you hear you're going back out on the road again after the game tomorrow?
I all I can think about is tonight against the Kraken. don't hit fast forward on me, okay? We got a fun trip coming up, but it's nice. It's nice to be back. Two more quick things from me on Seattle before we send it to our Friday free-for-all. You mentioned Joey Daccord tied for the league lead in steals by a goaltender. What's a steal, you might ask? Well, that is an under the hood number, Adrian, for goaltenders. It's basically when a goalie performs so well above average, above what's expected, he steals the game for his team. It's a term that our analytics community uses. And Joey Daccord is tied for the league lead in those steals. So they're getting really good goaltending from Daccord. He had a steal against the LA Kings in that kind of crazy win on Wednesday in overtime. And also some of the firepower up front for Seattle has been missing throughout the year. Jared McCann, who was their leading scorer last year, has been out for a big chunk of the start of the season. He's back in the lineup for them, so that's going to help their offensive numbers moving forward. But they are without Jaden Schwartz for the last couple games. He's out for another month or so with a lower body injury. So they have had some injuries to some of their top guys up front, and they do have McCann back. They're without Schwartz now. So just things to keep in mind for the matchup tonight.
Yeah, and one bit of roster news that came across yesterday for the Mammoth. Maverik Center sent back to Tucson, and Kevin Rooney recalled from the Roadrunners. I thought it was a pretty nice 10 days for Mav Mike, and just going to do that quick switch. So Mav's going to go back to the AHL, and Kevin Rooney, who scored a goal in his first game with the Mammoth, is going to be back with the team here this evening.
Adrian, how about we peel back the curtain a little bit? We're recording this on Thursday. We literally just got the text from PR that Mav is getting sent down and Kevin Rooney is getting called up. I thought Mav played pretty well, Adrian. I thought maybe there were some execution things that got away from him a little bit at times, but I thought he was pretty good. I didn't ever feel like it was too big for him out there. I was glad to see him not take penalties in the way that he did in his first call-up last year. He was much more disciplined on that front, which I think is a big step in the right direction. He was physical during his time, and there were games where him and Ian Cole were fantastic. But he was -1 against Florida the other night in that loss. Only played about 12 and a half minutes. That was the least amount of ice time that he had seen in this call up here. So not incredibly surprised, Adrian, but I didn't think I don't necessarily think this is a demotion because he has played so poorly. I thought he's been pretty good.
Yeah, really, really been happy with him. And boy, the 2 months that he spent down in the AHL, I just thought, boy, did that ever really expedite his process along, playing those big minutes and being a big shutdown D with Maximilian Zuber down there, as we've referenced. But he's got the best attitude you could ever have. But I thought it was a nice 10 days. I thought it was a nice 10 days for Mav.
Never a bad day for Maverik Center. So I'm pulling up some of his numbers right now on Money Puck. I'm trying to find some of the good stuff here. Anything to share? I don't know, AD, do you have any stats on Mav? I know he had that assist. His plus minus looked fine. I'm trying to pull up some of the analytics on him here, but I mean, Utah is pretty. Utah has a wealth of depth, kind of at that fifth, sixth defenseman spot. And so you can bring in a Nick DeSimone with relative ease. You can bring in an Oli Mata once he's healthy. So those guys can step right in and make an impact as well.
Yeah, and we've seen Oli skating, right, as he's currently injured. And I just looked at the stats, Mike, the box score. It seemed like Mav led defensemen in hits and block shots combined every game that he was with the team. So really impactful, and another young prodigy that Ian Cole was playing with that he made the transition go as smooth as you could ever imagine.
Yeah, I think just the offensive side when those two guys were out there was lacking. Like those are Cole and Lamoureux are two defensive defensemen, right? And we've seen both of them chip in offensively at times, but they're primarily out there to defend. And I think when you look at their expected goal numbers or some of the possession numbers, they don't skew positively. But I think that's just because their energy is going towards defending. They're starting in their own zone, and when the puck goes down to the other end, those guys will work it a little bit, but then you'll get the more puck moving inclined defensemen, the John Marinos, the Sergachevs, the Durzeys, the Schmitz out there in the ozone.
So there we go. That's what's happening tonight. Mammoth and Kraken. Mike, when we come back, we've got a Friday free-for-all. It's literally a Friday free-for-all. We've got some stuff to cover. We got some pistachios on Wednesday night. We're going to have some on the air. We've got a couple more things on the Christmas tree. But, Mike, going to do a little bingo card here for things the Mammoth can do or not do to win games. Because we feel like they're playing good enough to win. But there's been a few instances here and there that have been reasons why they haven't won. So we've got a bingo card that we've put together. Mike and I are going to fill that up and talk about it. Coming up right after this in our Friday Free-for-All on Mammoth Daily.
Get ready. Your Friday free-for-all is here.
Mammoth taking on the Seattle Kraken tonight, but first we have our Friday free-for-all, and we're getting crazy with it, Adrian, going every which way, and we're starting with the game we all love, bingo. So break out your bingo cards, that little wire roller and all the balls inside. That's what we're doing. I've run a bingo game before, and I will say, Adrian, I am an elite bingo caller.
I believe that. I can see that. Did you like me on the mic at the Skate with the Season Ticket members on Tuesday night?
Fantastic. You were hamming up the team store sale as well. Yeah. I think you were really driving a lot of business over there.
I think that's probably my element more than podcasting and hosting Hockey Night in Utah. Just pick up the live mic at an event and get people engaged.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was fantastic. Because at first, was it Jeff who was doing it?
It was Kevin. Who oversees our season ticket accounts, and I was skating by Mike, and he said, "Hey, make an announcement for me," and I said, "Sure," and then I kept the mic for the whole night.
Skating by, that's what you call it. All right,
yeah, style for a twirl.
All right, let's get into our bingo. We're gonna go back and forth here, and we're gonna be trading different things you need to look for in a Mammoth win. And when you get, what are we saying? 4 of these, 5 of these, all of these in a row, that's when you can cross a line through it, and you can cross a line through another Utah Mammoth W. But you have to get these to line up. And so it's important that we all have our bingo cards out tonight against the Kraken and be looking for these items. It's important that the team is looking for these items as well.
Mike, early in periods and late in periods. We've seen it in both games this week. The Mammoth surrendering goals early in the third period against LA when it was a 2-1 game. Against the Florida Panthers on Wednesday night, they scored in the final minute of the first, and they scored 2 in the first 3.5 of the second, and 1-0 became 3-1, just like that. So you got to protect the first 5 minutes of a period and the last 5 minutes of a period. The Mammoth this year are 7-11-2 when they allow a goal in the first or the last 5 minutes of a period. But Mike, 2-11-2 in their last 15 games when they allow a goal in the first or last 5 minutes of a period. It changes momentum. Yep. It changes the complete complexion of the game. So that's what I'm saying for the first thing. Protect the first 5 and the last 5. And we'll call that B6. B6. Protect the first and last 5 minutes of a period.
My first on my bingo card that I'm writing down is getting a goal from Utah's top line. I think Utah is second and third lines, whoever has been on them, have been the most consistent, I guess, especially with the current alignment where you have McBain with Carcone and Boot, then Krause with Gunther and Barrett Hayton. I think those two lines were pretty good. Both produced a goal, at least a goal, on Wednesday night against the Panthers. It's Utah's top group of Keller, Schmaltz, and Peterka, which get a lot of the tough matchups. They're playing a lot of the hard minutes for Utah. But look at the Mammoths' big wins. Think of the St. Louis game. Think of Minnesota. Think of the win against Vegas when Logan Cooley has 4 goals. Think of the Anaheim Ducks. That's Utah's top line getting to work. Now, that top line kind of changes hands at times, right? It's the Cooley-Gunther line, or is it the Schmaltz-Keller-Peterka line? But one of those lines has to produce at some point for Utah to be consistently successful. And now without Logan Cooley, in my mind, there's only one true top line, and that is the Schmaltz-Keller-Peterka line. And then you kind of have a second and third line that are almost interchangeable right now. So getting a goal from that Schmaltz-Keller-Peterka group is really important from Utah. And when those guys are on, they're on, and they lead the way for this team.
7-1 when Keller scores, 7-1 when Schmaltz scores, 5-3-2 when JJ Peterka scores. Up until Wednesday night, they'd scored 5 goals in 4 games together, outscoring the opposition 5-0. Mike, I'm saying consecutive goals here, for and against. Let's start with the good news, Mike. Utah this year is 13-4-3 when they score consecutive goals in a game. So when they score a goal and then they score the next goal, they've won games. This year, when they allow consecutive goals, 7-12-3, but 3-12-2 in their last 17 since the 7-game winning streak. Since the 7-game winning streak, 3-12-2 when they allow 2 consecutive goals in a game. So you give up a goal, you got to get the momentum back. Good shift, another good shift, draw a penalty, you score a goal. But consecutive goals against kill you just as bad as goals allowed in the first or last 5 minutes. Mike, a signature game jumps out at me that Utah did not allow consecutive goals this year and won against the Avalanche on October 23rd. They fell behind. They tied it, took the lead, gave up the lead, took the lead, gave up the lead. But at no point there did the Avs ever score consecutive goals on the Mammoth. They were able to manage the momentum in that contest.
I might even raise you one, like, how about just consecutive goals in quick order? I mean, we've seen that each of the last couple nights where Florida and before them, LA scored a couple of goals within just a few minutes worth of game time. That's not my bingo. That's just tacking onto what you said. But how about pushing back when Utah goes behind? And that's kind of playing off the back-to-back goals, but you give up the lead, you need a quick response, and you need that push right away. The Mammoth this year have spent the third most amount of time trailing in games this year. Now, part of that is because the Mammoth have played some of the most games in the NHL total, but Utah has often found itself trailing in games, and I think that's not a surprise, I guess. I mean, every team is going through that because so many games in the NHL this year have been close games late. You look at the Mammoths' 14 wins, 7 of those wins have been comeback wins by Utah. So when the Mammoths are at their best, they're not allowing a lead to squash them. And kind of going back to what you were saying, they're not giving up that second goal. They're immediately coming back and having that push right away. Last comeback win for Utah was against the New York Rangers. Mammoth fell behind 2-1 in the second period. They then tied it, took the lead in the third, and won that game 3-2. But pushing back after you surrender the lead and pushing back immediately is something that this team has to be prepared to do. And when they've won, they are prepared to do it, and they go out and execute.
And when you play with a lead, Mike, like when you get that first goal, I'll piggyback this one off of you right here. I won't make this one of mine. 10-6-1 when they get the first goal. It's not perfect. It's not they're undefeated when they score the first goal, but it's just a higher percentage situation in to manage the the game when you don't have to play catch up versus 4-9-2 when you give up the first goal. Mike, did you just happen to mention, piggybacking off of me, goals in quick succession?
I might have mentioned it.
How about this, Mike? When Utah allows 2 goals in less than 3 minutes in a game, they're 2-7. So 2 quick goals allowed in less than 3 minutes, a 2-7 record.
So you're saying goals against are bad?
Consecutive goals against in quick succession.
Right, but I do get a kick out of some of these stats. Like when they give up 2 goals in a period, like they tend to lose. Like, yeah, of course,
2 goals in a 3-minute stretch, though.
Right? No, I understand.
Yeah.
But like that,
yeah,
it's like, yeah, don't give up goals. Don't give them up in quick succession. Don't give them up in lengthy succession. Like, just don't give them up.
But when you do, don't let 1 become 2, become 3.
Right. Yeah, have that response. And yeah. I think back to the game on Wednesday, and it was right after Utah took a 1-0 lead on that goal from Dylan Guenther, his first of 2. The Panthers had a great shift following Utah's first goal of the night. Like, there was a broken play, really bad turnover in the Mammoth zone, and Florida, it was Marchand who had a great scoring chance, and then Utah eventually took a penalty, I believe, shortly after that. But Florida took a penalty, but that first shift was a positive one from Florida, and you saw the way the Panthers responded after each goal and the immediacy of that, and that's kind of what championship teams do.
They took the game over. They got 9 of the next 12 shots, and they tied the game in the final minute of a period, and that's how they took it over.
Yeah, more bingo.
My turn or your turn on bingo?
I think it's my turn. I think it's my turn on bingo. Cool. And mine is going to come with some nuance here. We're going to go to special teams. I'm not going to say score a power play goal. That it's very nice to score a power play goal, but what you do have to do is use that power play to gain momentum. And like we were just talking about, Utah had a power play in the first period against Florida. They didn't score on that power play, and it actually turned into momentum for Florida a little bit because the Panthers go right down and Sam Bennett scores a goal on a blown back check by the Mammoth. And so you don't have to score on the power play. And if you listen on the radio to our walk-off interviews, you'll hear the players talk about a power play, and you'll say, yeah, we'll see if we can get some momentum from this power play. Like, yeah, we'll see if we can start hemming them in on this power play. They're not saying, yeah, we need to go out on this power play and score. Obviously, you want to do that. But what you do have to do with the power play is generate momentum, keep the puck in the zone or in that half after the power play, and continue to roll your lines so that you can keep applying pressure at 5-on-5 following the power play. And Florida was able to get a big kill in the first period. They turned that into a goal shortly after.
Yeah. If you get a power play goal, though, Mike, it's good stuff. You're 8-3-1 when you get a power play goal this year. We've seen some glimpses. Just nobody in the NHL is drawing power plays right now because everybody's so tired because of all the back-to-backs and, playing 3 games in 4 nights. Hey, Mike, speaking of back-to-backs, the Mammoth have played 6 of them. They have their 7th next week. And guess what? Those are going to be done, are, spread out a little more as we get through Christmas, get to the new year. Let's not play any more back-to-backs. 1-4-1 on a back-to-back, 13-9-1 when you're not playing on a back-to-back. That's another thing that's a big deal that, the Mammoth have had back-to-backs bunched up, ideally, a few more wins, but that's why their record is what it is right now with 6 back-to-backs.
My bingo card's full, AD. You got any more to add on here? Any more records for us?
I'm good.
That's bingo.
Yeah. Mammoth Daily Bingo. So,
look for those things.
Watch for all that stuff and bring a bingo card and maybe some pistachios, and you can use those as your little deals. All
right. I've been staring at these for the entire episode. I'm breaking these open. These were brought to us by our good friend Woody. I'm not going to say when, in case he gets in trouble, but we acquired these pistachios on a game day. I'll just say that. And
why would you get in trouble?
I don't know if you had to smuggle them in.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you couldn't bring food and beverage into the building.
Well, there you go. Adrian just blew Woody's cover. But Woody, he said he put these on his Traeger grill. So these are like grilled smoked pistachios here. There's some seasoning on there, I can tell. You just popped one in, Adrian. I am not a pistachio guy. So this will be my first. I'm pretty sure this is my first ever pistachio right here. And you don't suck on the shell, do you, AD? I mean,
you can.
That's where all the flavor is. That's how I used to eat peanuts at Texas Roadhouse. Just pop one in and like suck on the outer shell, get all that salt.
Well, especially with these being smoked. Like, it's a good taste.
Here we go. Cheers. Oh, that's delightful.
That's so good.
That is
great pistachio.
Woody, that is outstanding.
Very good. The Traeger, the smoke in it makes them.
Oh.
Like, pistachios are fine, but these are elite.
These are great. And the seasoning is not too, it's not overpowering. It's subtle. It allows the nut itself to do a lot of the heavy lifting. I've never once thought like I'm going to buy some pistachios, but.
Well, don't buy pistachios, Mike, because you're going to be disappointed because they don't taste like that. They're fine, but smoked pistachios from the Traeger.
I'll put in an order with Woody. These are great.
Yeah. Get your pistachios from Woody and meet out on the corner where we always meet to get our pistachios.
Speaking of snacks, we're recording this on Thursday. Tonight, I am getting busy in the kitchen, and I am going to be baking up a storm. And if anybody wants to come by the top of Section 7, I may or may not have some baked Christmas cookies that will be up for consumption if I deem them edible. I don't want to, alarm anybody with food allergies or anything like that. So come at your own risk. But come by. We'll share a Christmas cookie and talk about the Mammoth a little bit before tonight's game in Seattle. But AD, I know we had some folks chime in about the Christmas tree, the great Christmas tree debate. Am I going to get crucified here?
I don't think so. Everybody seems fine. Brett says, my family has two trees. We chopped down a tree in Spring City and have that one in the front room. This year, we also got an artificial for all the kids' ornaments. See? It's got one of both. The real tree has white lights. The fake has LED lights that he can change. So depending on what game he's watching that night, he changes the colors to whatever team's colors that he wants to win. Every Mammoth night, it's mountain blue and white. See? You can compromise.
I like it. Both trees. Now he said an artificial tree for all the kids' ornaments. Can the ornaments not go on the real tree?
Well, they probably have a lot of Christmas ornaments. A lot of decor.
Well, that's just a lot of Christmas cheer.
Probably a lot of garland. Yeah, a lot of garland on the real tree. Here's Brandon
on a Christmas tree. It's a tree. It's already got the fur on there.
Huh. To each his own, Mike, as we know. Brandon says, I've had my fake tree up since October. Hard to call somebody who celebrates 60 plus days a Grinch. He says his tree has both white and color. He prefers the white lights. So again, people are willing to compromise, Mike.
Yeah. This is good. This is a healthy healing process for us here. Everybody coming together. That's the spirit of Christmas.
So folks, if you haven't been with us all week, and if not, you missed this. Mike went out and chopped down a Christmas tree with a Department of Wildlife Resources permit. It's beautiful, and he likes clear lights, and I'm an artificial tree guy, and I've got colored lights on my tree. So pick a side.
Oh, I've started asking players in the locker room as well, and I think I am finally on the right side of an argument with the coloring of the lights. I think a lot of people like the traditional soft white. And I tell you what, you get a nice little cover of snowfall just on top of those classic whites. And is there anything more magical than that?
For me, Mike, the white lights you get the white lights when you go to the Ace Hardware, and they're out of everything. And the white lights are the only ones left.
Well, we go to the Ace Hardware that our good friend Mike owns and runs and operates. So they're never out. Those shelves are always adequately and appropriately stocked.
And when they do run out, they've got plenty in the back. Plenty of back stock.
They probably don't even sell the color lights because nobody buys those. People just want the classic whites.
We'll have to check.
All right, let's wrap up our Friday free for all and get to our local hockey segment here at the end of your work week. Adrian's got plenty of local hockey news and updates and scores for us. So let's get to that on the other side of this little break on Mammoth Daily.
This is Mammoth Daily.
Wrapping up your Friday free-for-all edition of Mammoth Daily, and we have our local hockey segment. AD, what do we have today?
We've got the University of Utah women up to 16th in the country, the highest ranking they've had since they began playing about 7 years ago. They're 9-3. They're off till January 9th. So great job by the women. The D1 team at Utah is ranked. D2's having a good season as well. If you want to go see the Utah men D1 or D2 team or the women's team, they're all off until January, but we've got an offer, Mike. You can go to utahhockey.com, go to tickets, type in promo code NASHCAST, and our friend AJ Bolden, who we had on last week, has a free ticket code in there. So it goes till December 31st. So plan what games you want to go to in the new year and go support University of Utah on AJ with that free promo code NASHCAST. Utahhockey.com is the website. Sit tickets, enter your promo code. You'll be good to go. Go support the skating Utes.
Love it. And we're gonna go to one, AD. We don't have one picked out, but I'm calling our shot right now. We're gonna go to one. I'm not sure which, but watching club hockey is, I say club, I'm supposed to say non-varsity. It's not Division I, but you wouldn't know from watching it. These kids play with passion. They were recruited to play hockey at a high level, and it is a blast to watch. It is not fun to play against them, as I know from going out there at local drop-ins where there's some club players out there, and when I was on the ice with them, I might as well not have been because they skated past me as if I was invisible.
Mike, let's go to high school. We've got maybe the hottest team in the state right now, the Brighton Bengals. They've won 4 straight, and that includes a 6-1 win over Park City on November 26th. The Miners' only loss this year, and they've got a rematch on Monday night at 8:45 p.m. at the Salt Lake City Sports Complex. Steiner up there on the hill. They're led by Skylar Slater. He's got 33 points on 20 goals. So that's going to be a showdown.
Wow.
They beat Park City 6-1. Only loss for the Miners.
Wow. Wow. Great stuff. Can't wait. What night is that game?
That's on Monday night, the 15th. Yeah.
Excellent.
And then we have a big girls game on Friday night. It's Girls Central and Girls North. So good luck. Good luck there. And then, Mike, wrapping things up on our local hockey roundup. The Utah Grizzlies taking on the Atlanta Gladiators this weekend.
Oh.
It is an ECHL alumni weekend at the Maverik Center. I am a former Grizzly. You are a former Gladiator. Atlanta won the first game on Wednesday night. They're playing Friday and Saturday on the west side out there at Maverik Center. Jack Ricketts, we've got him playing for the Grizzlies. He's a Utah Mammoth AHL contract, Mike. He's a rookie out of Quinnipiac via Holy Cross. Wears number 28 if you go out to the Mav to check him out. He's got 16 points in 22 games, 8 goals, 8 assists. So great start by Jack. But how do you like that showdown, Mike?
I can't wait.
ECHL teams
we gotta
going at it.
We gotta put a bet. We gotta put a bet on one of the games. Are they playing Friday, Saturday?
They are playing Friday, Saturday.
Okay. So how do you want to do it? You want to just pick a game and put a little wager, a little friendly wager on it, AD?
Yeah, let's do it.
What do you
How
think?
about this, Mike? If Atlanta wins the series, which would be taking if whoever gets the most standings points, because they could go to overtime, right? So whoever gets the most standings points this weekend, if the Grizzlies get it, I win. If Atlanta gets it, you win. I'll take you to my favorite pizza place downtown, Sicilia Pizza, for a slice for lunch. How's that sound?
That's if I win?
Yeah, if you win, yeah.
Okay. And if you win,
If the
there's
Grizz win.
a great ice cream spot up in Bountiful I could take you to.
Oh, yes. Nielsen's frozen custard.
Yeah. We could
Nobody's
hit that.
losing.
How about why don't we leave it open to the fans, Adrian? Why don't we get some suggestions if you're watching on YouTube? Why don't you drop something in the comments? What should the bet be between me and Adrian? If Atlanta wins, I'm the bet winner. If Utah picks up more points on the weekend, then Adrian is the winner. Are we saying most points out of these next 2 games?
Yeah, Atlanta won the first one.
Okay.
Atlanta won the first one on Wednesday. So most standings points, because you can go to overtime and get a point.
How are we doing tiebreaker? Goal differential?
Yeah.
What's the second tiebreaker?
If each team gets 3 out of 4 points, we'll do goal differential. I think we'll just if it's beyond that, Mike, we're just gonna have to.
Okay. All right. Well, leave a comment. Leave a comment with what the bet should be. Or if you're on Twitter, hit us up. He's at 801 Adrian Denny. I'm at Mike_Folta. You can find us on Instagram as well. I'm Mikey Folta on IG, and Adrian is 801 Adrian Denny again on Instagram. So let us know what the I want to say punishment, but what the bet should be. It's a friendly wager.
Casual wager.
Nothing against the Grizzlies. Can you stall for me? I'm going to see if I have if I can find some Atlanta stuff in my closet real quick. I got to have.
Yeah,
something.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Take over for
me.
me.
I might look for some Grizzlies stuff here.
Here we go. Look at this.
He's back.
This is the old tracksuit right here we'd wear on the bus. This was actually like really nice. This is Warrior. Warrior was the partner with the ECHL, Adrian, and I believe New Balance owns Warrior.
Yep.
And I remember we went to Fort Myers, Florida for a series, which I loved because you're there for like a whole week in Fort Myers. It's beautiful. And there's this outlet store right next to the rink. And so after practice, you kind of like walk past this marshland. And you have to watch out for alligators, and you can go over to the outlet store. And one day, my coach, Jeff Pyle, walks in and is like, "Hey, we're going to the New Balance outlet store." They gave us like $200 of credit because through some partnership with Warrior and New Balance, like they just had these credits to hand out. It was like free money at the New Balance outlet. And in the ECHL, that's like a week's worth of per diem right there. That's like a week's worth of meal money. So I go and get all my Christmas shopping done in one foul swoop at the New Balance store. And now I'm a New Balance guy, all because of Warrior, who gave us those free credits. And you work with a team, Adrian, you just acquire stuff. There's a lot of leftover stuff throughout the year. There were some leftover skates, sticks, gloves, a helmet that like just couldn't be used anymore by pro athletes. And so our equipment manager gave them to me. And so now when I play men's league, I'm playing with like pro stock Warrior stuff. People see these $200 gloves and they're like, "Wow, this guy must be really good." And then I get out there and they realize that, oh no, he's the worst player on the ice. But I look the part when I'm sitting on the bench.
Here's my Utah Grizzlies souvenir, Mike. It's my official trading card.
Oh my. Who is that stud?
I'm going to bring you one of these.
Is that Riley Cooper? Or no, who's Riley Cooper? Is that a football player? Is that Bradley Cooper?
Yeah.
That is one handsome guy. What happened to him?
Look at that guy.
Look at the hair. Look at the lettuce on top. Oh my gosh. Just a stallion.
There we go, folks.
That's great podcasting.
That's why we call it the Friday Free-for-All.
Yeah. Got off the rails. All right. Well, let's close the curtains on this show. Great local hockey roundup, AD. We'll see everybody tonight at the Delta Center against the Seattle Kraken. Utah trying to finish out the homestand strong before hitting the road for 3 games and then coming back home later next week. But going to need a big showing from the team, and we know that us on the radio side are going to bring it. Remember to stop by top of Section 7, come say hi, and come by for some Christmas cookies as well. We'll see everybody.